The clue is earlier in the rule, but anyone see what? It has to be an action, right. This is where your stative verb and your non-stative verb issue is important. That's why, last term at the end I gave you a list of stative verbs because this issue comes up again. We have to use used to for stative verbs. We cannot use would. Like is a stative verb, yeah? I used to like carbohydrates. You can't say I would like carbohydrates. It's not an action, it's a stative. It's not an action verb or what we call a dynamic verb. It's a stative verb.
And also different meaning too, is it?
Well, that's true. I would like.
Yeah.
That's about, a polite request, isn't it? Yeah. In this particular case.
Totally different.
Yeah. But let's take another stative verb so we don't confuse it with that issue. Enjoy. I used to enjoy cowboy films. Can we say, I would enjoy cowboy films about the past? No, because again, it's a stative verb, isn't it? You will probably need, when we get into our exercises, no doubt he'll test you on this sort of thing. So those 3 pages of stative verbs that I've given you, I'd hang on to, and you're probably going to need them out in front of you to discuss this stuff. I think, yeah.
It be hit why his mother wanted flowers.
Yeah.
We say it is quite a seal. We say every week he buys.
That would be if it's happening now, in the present. You're describing, in that case, a present habit. That would work. Yeah, but if you want to put it in the past, every week he would buy, or every week he used to buy. Because it's an action, we can choose one of those or the other.
Yeah. What about when we use would in, for example, you say it would be alright if we go to swimming pool.
Right. Say that again.
It would be alright if we go to swimming pool this weekend, or would be used in future and past as well.
Yeah, sorry. I'll get the others to analyse this. Would, of course, many words in many languages are very flexible and can be used for all sorts of functions, aren't they? Would is one of these. Would is a modal verb. And you're right, this is a conditional structure. What conditional? And there needs to be something changed about it. We haven't done conditionals yet, we're going to do them very soon. Pretty important. So we're jumping ahead here, but I think a lot of people have got some existing knowledge already. So Marley's question is about that, but before we look at that, let's get the species of animal that we're looking at clear. What kind of conditional is this? We've got an if, haven't we? So it's a conditional.
Future condition.
No, well, it is about the future. It's kind of about the present moment and into the future, yes. It's a second, right, good leader. What is the second conditional? What is it? What does it do? Yes. Yeah. There's something that needs changing. We
couldn't.
right, in a second conditional, you're right, it's a second conditional. Yeah, second conditional is about you imagine something. It's not immediately probable, it's not likely. And it's about the future, sure, but you're kind of imagining it's not very likely. Maybe you haven't got a car, So for the second conditional, we use a simple past here, and we use would in what we call the result clause. Don't worry too much about it now, we'll do it in the future. But that would, that's used to create a conditional structure.
We never use simple present with would.
Simple present.
Go with would. Remember?
Simple present, well, we've got a be here, go, no, you use your infinitive structure here. What we call the bare infinitive.
After if, with like now.
Here. Well, for a second conditional you don't, but a first conditional you do. I'll do a first conditional. Here, this is same idea. If we go to the swimming pool, it will be all right. Right? If we go, like, this is fairly likely that we'll do it. That's the difference between a first and a second, likelihood. So, if we go to the swimming pool, it will be, we change the would to will. Yeah. So no, you don't put would and the present. But that's a whole other chapter. That will, that's all right. Yes?
I used to like cowboy films. We don't say I would like cowboy film, but we also say it's kind of, I know it's a kind of different condition, but we say I like a cup of tea.
Yeah, we say I would like a cup of tea. That's right.
But it's a different.
That is a different function, isn't it? That's about a request in the present. So, you know, you could have 6 DVDs there, some science fiction, some horror, and there's a couple of cowboy films, and you say, I would like a cowboy film. Right? You're saying to your friend, let's watch one. And a polite request. So sure, you could say it, but this is all about the past.
Is it collocation? No.
Not the collocation, this is grammar. Right. This is, what we're looking at here is, grammatical rules, different from collocation. So, I would like, and then whatever you'd like. I'd like a cowboy film. In other words, I'd like to watch a cowboy film. But that's about now and a request in the present. What the whole chapter is we're looking at is about past structures, isn't it? And the would here is past. Perhaps this is not totally familiar. I want you to think of your life in your native country, last year, 3 years ago. How long have you been here, Lynn? 16? 16 years ago. Is it 16? Alright. Way back in the Ice Age. Okay. I want you to think about and I want you just to tell somebody else what you did every day. I'll just do one. I'll think about my kind of past life when I lived on a farm down south when I was about 10 years old to 15, 16. Okay, so every day my father would drive me into the city. I would go to school. I would do my lessons. Then I would walk down to the bus station. I would jump on the bus and I would catch the bus that wound its way through the hills. It took an hour to get to the little post office. Then I would get off. I would get on my bicycle that my father had dropped off at the post office, and then I would ride for 3 miles home to the farm. Would, isn't it? Because I'm telling you kind of everything. No, not was. What I'm doing is I'm telling you habits that I did every day. Yeah?
How many hours is that? 3 miles.
Okay?
3 miles.
Oh, 3 miles is about, I don't know, about 5 kilometres.
5 kilometers, so that would be...
Ride at 20 kilometres an hour, it's about 20 minutes, roughly. So it took me about 20 minutes to ride. Yeah. So, okay, let's just try this, practice this would structure. I want you to think of something that you did. It doesn't have to be in a single day, it could be, every week you did it. I would go to see my friend every Tuesday, anything like that. Okay, get pairs and 3s and 3s, yeah? Just spend a few minutes telling each other your previous life, your previous habits. I would da-da-da, my father would. Yes, you can. You can do used to, will automatically. For an action, you can do both. I could say, my father used to take me to school and I used to get on the bus. and then I used to get off and I used to ride my bike home. Because they're all actions, I can say used to or would, both. But for stated verbs, only used to. I used to really like reading comics, but I don't anymore. I can't say I would like. Yeah, can't do it. I think you've got that. Yes, look, Marley, you've got those are the things I'm talking about. Oh, they're yours. Right, because they were at E321. I'll put them out. There's one. There's one. Yeah. And yeah, there you go. Yeah. So 3, right? Yeah, I knew I'd put it out. That's good. They're the same. Yeah.
For the last
We can use the same way, same meaning, depends. This is in verb is
That's that now. So that's 3 pages. Right?
used to, we can use them.
Can you have a look through this? Yeah, right. This is the last page. Copy that. Later, have a look first. There it is.
Because you said you used to walk. How far? Sorry, I thought you said walk.
Okay, let's stop there. Now, whatever you told your partner, we're going to change now.
Just a good go.
I want you to say pretty much exactly the same thing, but I want you to change it to used to. Because I think you were probably describing actions, right? Just go through the same thing, and just say, I used to do this, and I used to do that. Or you can mix it up with would and used to, if you like. But the point is you can use both, alright? So you decide if you want to be a bit more complicated, mix them up, or just do the same thing with used to. Okay, go. Just a minute each.
Question about used to.
Yeah.
When we say used to do in something. Yeah.
That's different. That's like Delani's. I'm not used to doing. If you say I used to do, that's in the past. I used to do my homework, but I can't be bothered now.
Sorry, I made it wrong. If I say I used to do something, it means it happened in the past, but very unlikely happened now.
That's right.
But if we say I would do something in the past, it's neutral.
That's right. You could still be doing it now. That's right. That is the difference.
All right.
Yes. That used to brings up the contrast more. That, it's something you did, but you probably don't do it now. But would, as you say, James, doesn't indicate anything about what you do in the present moment. Okay, but just for practice, switch to used to. Do the same thing. Go for it. something in your past and use used to. Yeah, like you'd have to say every day I would go to the university. Yeah. Right, now what would you do then? Say, I used to. Yes. That's right. It's an action. It is play.
During the day or during the night, doesn't matter.
Didn't matter.
Didn't matter. Also, I could go to yoga. We didn't have to because I used to enjoy it.
Yes.
I used to
I used to enjoy it. Because enjoy is stated. Yeah, so you have to switch. I used to enjoy it. I would go to yoga twice a week, and I used to enjoy it a lot. Not overly enjoy it. Yeah, so for the stating you have to switch. No, you wouldn't take wooded. Yeah. I would get on the bus. I would walk. Yeah, the wood already becomes part, so you don't have any for that. No.
I used to have the same practice.
I used to go
Just say the first one again, I used to. That sounds like I used to go. Like I'm making the term. I used to go. I used to. Stronger. I used to. That's it. I used to go. Yeah. Okay, now that sheet from last term, the stated verb list. Got it? I'm not sure what upstairs. Oh, yeah. One spare. Okay. If you haven't got it, just share. Bring them over the next few days. If you don't have them here, you need to bring them along. Okay? So, did you get it last?
No. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
last semester.
Last semester, the last week, or no, you don't have it. Okay. I'll give you this one in a minute. Just look on now. Now, have a look at the second page. Turn it over. Yeah, now, we've got stated verbs here. Now remember the rule that we're looking at. That's it, that's the one. Now, with these stated verbs, and see, they're broken into two categories. Verbs of inert perception and cognition. So, when you perceive something, see, smell, taste, touch, or cognition, you think something. Suppose, understand, imagine. Okay, so those kind of verbs are usually stated. And also, relational verbs. Be, consist of, involve, resemble, they're stated. Now, our rule that we're looking at today is we can't use would with these. We have to use used to, isn't it? So again, I want you to talk about your past life and use something here. For example, I'll just do the same sort of thing. I used to love getting home on the farm after a day in the city, and I'm going to switch from one to the other. I would go, because it's an action, for a walk up to the back of my farm, and I can remember I used to smell the grass, the smell of the grass, especially when the sun was setting and the moisture was coming out of the earth. I used to smell this fantastic smell of the grass, and it was something I used to love. Okay, so love and smell, one's a cognition, love, one's a perception, isn't it? So I can't say I would smell, I have to say I used to smell and used to love. I'm getting a little trickier. Just have a minute to look at some of those verbs and think of things you used to think or used to perceive. And when you're ready, just it's a bit hard this one, so a couple of sentences about the same thing you were talking about, but with used to, because these are stated verbs, you've got to use used to. Okay, over to you. Describe your past experience using some of these verbs with used to, not would. Go for it. Okay, can you do it? Tell us about something in your past using these statives, using these. You've got to use some of these. Ahmed, can you tell us something?
Cheese.
Yeah.
I used to
So you have to use
dislike.
Yeah, that's right. Anything there.
Dislike the things that
When you live in your environment, what did you used to hear? Were you living in a big city and you used to hear, or you lived in the countryside and you used to hear? Tell me. Rena, tell me what. Just with that one.
I used to hear when I lived in my city, I used to hear the songs.
Yeah. No, think. Feel. Yeah. Yes.
And also rain.
Right. Just keep repeating. I used to, and I used to hear trains.
Train sounds.
Yeah.
Because I also hear like train track.
Right.
And every half an hour, the train used to pass. And
Yeah.
the
used to
sounds
be
like
very
That's right. That was noisy. How about you, Jimmy? That's good news.
I would work very hard, so I would ride a bike a lot. I would
Right.
go
Yes.
to yoga.
More than here. And it's very quiet.
I used to. I can use both. I used to go to the yoga class, so I
Really? That's pretty quiet. Quiet on that lane. That's good news. They used to hear everything.
because I will be a little and my mom, she always sides my sister.
You can use to be supplies.
Okay, so does that give you a bit of a better grasp of this? It's tricky because, ultimately you really have to know those stated verbs, don't you? Most verbs are not stative. Most verbs are dynamic. So that's why that list and the other lists that I've given you are worth visiting and revisiting. Just refresh your memory of those, because those verbs we say used to, not would, and remember our other rule, most of the time they're in the simple form. Simple past, simple present, simple future, not the continuous. So there's a few things we have to watch with those verbs. Yeah. Alright, so let's go back now to the motor events. So keep those lists with you, because I think when we get into the exercises you'll need them. He'll try to trick you with some of these, and you've got to be alert.
Just that these are not only stated verbs. So
They're not the only ones, no. That's why I gave you that list, and I gave you, see that other list there?
Yes.
Yeah, that one, and I gave you a list of relationals, because I've never found one list on the internet with all stated verbs in English. They're kind of scattered around, you know, different sites have different lists. There's a lot of overlap, but yeah, I've never found one that's just as perfect. If you ever do, in 2025, if you find a list, yeah, email it to me, yeah? Because if I'm still teaching, I love it. Okay, let's move on. Last few rules. Unfulfilled past events. Oh, sorry, back on the would. Haven't finished it. Would is more common in written language. That's important for your writing. So if you've got a choice of used to or would, because you're describing past actions, for writing, more formal writing, choose would. Used to has a spoken field. And you know, you're trying generally to eliminate that in formal writing. If, however, we've talked about writing for different purposes, if you're writing something to the general public and you want it to be very easy and have a conversational feel, then use used to. It's going to be more spoken. And often occurs in reminiscences. Reminiscences is exactly what you were doing, remembering your past life. When you reminisce, you remember something a long time ago in your life. So actually, if we were going to choose which one to use today, you'd probably use would more than used to.
You said we can't use used to. We have to use used to with stated.
That's right.
So if we want to write something like believe, I would believe.
No. Yeah, you still, you can't just, where there's the choice, which is with dynamic verbs, and you're writing, you choose would. But for statives, you're stuck with used to. You can't change that to would because you're writing. No, you can't do that.
We can't say I would believe, I used to.
No, used to believe, that's right. Yeah. Alright, unfulfilled past events. These describe events that were intended to take place, but they didn't happen. I was going to phone you, but I forgot. I was thinking of going to Italy this year, but I haven't decided. I was about to do it, but I started doing something else. Jack was to have taken part. That's a tricky structure. He was, and then you do an infinitive. He was to have taken part, but he fell ill. Okay, so I was going to something or other. That's your most common one. I was going to write an essay on Philip Adams, but I changed my mind and I'm going to do it on Jermaine Greer. Alright? Change. It was intended, it didn't happen. Okay. I was thinking of doing my essay on Philip Adams, but changed to Jermaine Greer. I was about to start my research on Philip Adams, but I changed topic. I was to have written an essay. I was to have written an essay on Philip Adams, but I switched. I changed. So you can do that with all of those. Tricky structure, the last one. Not so common, I wouldn't worry too much about it. Your first one's the most common, isn't it? I was going to write an essay on Philip Adams, but changed my mind. I was thinking of writing. Those first two. I was about to means I was almost going to do it, and then suddenly something happened. That one's a little bit different. It has this sense of a sudden change. Okay, another one. The contrasting past event is often understood but not stated. How are you? Oh, I was going to phone you, and you don't have